Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Four Checks casts. We are your Four Checks, and it has been a while. How many weeks has it been now? And I know it's mostly my
Three.
fault. Three, and it's kind of my fault. You know,
Definitely everything. Yeah.
it is 100% my
Yeah. I
fault.
mean, there's some like we didn't really feel like doing a 3-person cast with the first week. It was like, I will wait Justin come back before next week because I wait Justin come back before we talk about all this cool Guilty Gear stuff.
Yeah. But we're back now and we're back to doing things weekly. My life is currently packed up in boxes. So if you want to know why my back area is a mess, it is because that is everything that will eventually make this room look like a real room.
It's not in the
But
garage anymore.
it's no, we have moved it out of the garage. We still have not found
Progress.
the camera or the mic from the old house. I had to buy a new stream camera and buy a new microphone. As far as I know, they're gone.
Imagine being this bad at moving.
But welcome to the Four Checks. We are Four Checks, the most qualified podcast in gaming, here to give you everything going on in universes. And we today are going to talk about Guilty Gear and how much Guilty Gear is bringing to the table. And I think we're just going to jump right into it. I do want to get some for the people who are watching on YouTube. Were you guys excited when you saw the IP of Guilty Gear announced? We'll start with Will because I know he probably knows the most about the game.
Oh gosh. You say that like I actually know things about the game. I have played
Grading
the
on a
game.
curve.
Yes.
We're grading on a curve here.
I mean, I'm certainly excited for it. Like I've always loved the aesthetic of Guilty Gear.
The aesthetic's lit.
Yeah, I've always like jokingly played it because I'm bad at fighting games to begin with. I'm extra bad at Guilty Gear because up until Strive, it's one of the most difficult, and I'm not going to say the most difficult because I know there's a lot of like technical fighting games out there, but it's one of the it is
Yeah,
one of
don't
the
start a
more
war
difficult.
here.
Right,
Just call it highly technical, right?
Right,
Lots
yeah,
of frame
it's one of the
references,
it's
lots of...
one of the most technical fighting games. One of
For sure.
so like the barrier to entry is used to be very high. Strive made that easier. I don't know exactly how easy because I haven't played Guilty Gear in a hot minute. Like I played it back when it was still like mostly 2D. Um, but I've loved the game in general for a while, and when I started playing UVS back when it was UFS, here was one of the most popular suggestions for the game, and we never got it. And it's really cool to be getting it now, even if it is a small set, even if it's the most recent iteration. It's still really awesome that we're finally getting this. I'm very hype about that.
Absolutely.
I'm very like medium. It is a license where the characters are diverse and colorful enough that even if you don't know anything about it, there'll probably be a character that you like.
Right.
Because you're just like, oh, this character's cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I like that about it. I don't have a lot of faith in fighting IPs from a like growing the game or selling product standpoint, but social post wise, it seems to be doing better than some of the other stuff we've done recently. So maybe that's incorrect. Maybe there's going to be a lot more excitement for this than I thought there would be.
Right.
Certainly a lot of players that were excited because you've got a lot of old holdouts from the fighting game times, plus general new players that happen to be into fighting games that were partly as part of the appeal of UVS, right? Is this fighting game like engine. So we'll see how it does. We'll see how its box idea works out in terms of maybe it there's a lot more sealed sales or whatever relative to the size of the set. So yeah, I'm now much more optimistic than I was when I first heard it. When I first heard it, I was like, well, okay, I guess they want to do some kind of fighting games again. I get it, and this is a good one.
I'm going to co-sign precisely that idea. Right now, I'm much more excited about Guilty Gear as a license, as a product than I was, I don't know, 6 months ago. Like, it's cool. It's like you're just splashing characters. But now here's Roman Cancel, and this mechanic is freaking sick. And I think kind of is a thematic core of the gameplay loop of the games too, and like a big thing that like sets the game apart is like this is a thing you get to do in this game, and here we have it in the universe is the core of the set. Like I don't want to glaze Jill Stark too much, but like when people talk about like we have magic designers now, this is kind of what magic does, and it's a really fucking great idea actually. You have a mechanic that's in your game that is clearly what the thing is about. Like that's actually really great, and I think it's awesome that we have an iconic part of this franchise as the core of the set.
So I think that's going to be a pretty good transition because I'll just say I knew.
Good.
Oh, sorry, didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah, you got a visual lag on my screen. That's a little weird. I can't tell if you're talking or not.
Yeah,
But-
on the stream it seems fine because I have it open on the other window.
just,
but yeah,
VDO
I think it's just
has
VDO
a
for
moment.
us.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But
Yeah.
I like the IP specific mechanics. I think from the perspective of UVS games, at least, last I knew, which was like a year and a half ago with the last creator summit that I was able to go to and got to talk to them about this stuff a little bit. Like they are very, very, very long-term minded. And so this sort of like experimenting with different things is like sometimes weird or frustrating to us in the moment, but from the big picture, just trying really thematic stuff. And then if one of these is something that players really like, they can maybe not do exactly that because of the theming, but they might, if people continue to really like tension and practice in gameplay, then, maybe a year down the road, they find some evergreen version of this that they start doing.
Yeah, and I think that Braves is a pretty good transition because, like I said, I did not play any Guilty Gear. The most I knew about Guilty Gear was that the lore of Bridget, because it went viral on the internet, and that people hate Potemkin in the competitive scene. Those were like the two things I had heard about the game. And I think, Broberg brought it up. We need to talk about it. The biggest thing that Guilty Gear has brought to the table is an entirely new, virtually unseen mechanic. Like we've had a lot of new mechanics introduced, but Frenzy was like, we had seen cards that did the Frenzy thing before, or at least something really close to it. People looked at Echo and were like, this is a facsimile of multiple. Like we could easily create an allegory for everything we had seen, or had an understanding based on previous cards when we keyworded it. Roman cancel intention is something completely unprecedented in our game. For those of you who aren't aware, it's a blitz ability that stuffs a Roman cancel token in your momentum. That Roman cancel token has 4 abilities. You can use one of them per Roman cancel token. They can only be used once per turn per ability, and they get removed at the beginning of your next turn. There is red to change the zone of your attack. Purple, where if you have an attack completely blocked, you may clear it from your card pool and draw a card. Yellow, where right before you're about to take damage, you can set its damage to 3. Both those effects require an additional momentum. And then finally, blue, where at form speed, you can freeze one rival foundation. That's a lot. That is a lot to be on a single card. I know we heard Broberg's thoughts a little bit, but when you see a card like this, does it just excite you? Does it concern you to see it? Where does your head go when you see Roman cancel token printed?
I mean, both, right? It's
Mhm.
yeah, as a neck deep competitive player, right? It opens up a lot of options. It gives you a bunch of gameplay decisions. There are things you can do with just like lots of cards now just give you a momentum for playing them. And that, I'm an Echo enjoyer. So that, it tickles my brainworms when I think about things we can do with Thunder Spear Barrage and things like that. The yellow effect in particular is going to be interesting to have around. Just this, if you play these cards, you can set up a defensive ability that's living in your momentum and kind of hard to deal with to sort of discourage decks going, taller or however you want to describe it. At the same time, I think we can probably safely and entirely say whatever intention they had to simplify the game or whatever it is they paid lip service to at some point last year is not what they're doing.
That. What are you talking about?
I don't think
No, like,
putting a card in your momentum with 4 different abilities is not reducing mental load.
Yes, it absolutely does. This lets you put mechanics on all of your cards. It lets you put choices in the player's hands aren't overwhelming because you know what this card does. You put one tension card, and now you know how every tension card works.
Broberg.
Sure, you can describe it that way.
Broberg. Okay, hold on. I thought we were going to wait a little bit before we dumped neck deep into argument, but you know what? It's fine. We haven't been here for 3 weeks. We'll grab some popcorn.
I hate this hypocrisy argument.
No, it's not. Kevin, you are ascribing way too much to me. I am not like going on the internet and raging about their horrible hypocrisy.
I will.
I hate this idea that they're only paying lip service to simplifying the game. Like, this is how you give your players choices and let them
Okay, Okay, hold on.
I do not believe that this is what they meant when they were talking in whenever it was 2 years ago at this point.
When I think of simplifying the game, I think of the ability to read a board and read a turn and understand what it does implicitly. And it's particularly for new and moderate players, because you don't really need to simplify the game for top level players. They know the rules of the game backwards and forwards, hopefully, if they're actually good at the game. This card sits in your momentum and not in the stage. It's in the momentum. It has 2 statics that have to be remembered at specific times or with specific conditions to be used correctly. It has 4 different effects at 3 different speeds. That's a simplified card to you?
No, it is. It's simpler in the sense that it lowers the memorization burden in the macro sense, right? The first time you play with the tension card, it is definitely making the game more complicated. The 20th time you're doing it, like, that's a card that you know. And I understand what Kevin's saying. You now know what half of the cards in your set do, at least mostly. And that is a simplification in a sense.
I get that. And I will speak more. I actually don't necessarily have as much of a problem with the 4 abilities, because if you're playing a tension card and you don't activate one of these abilities, you aren't breaking the rules of the game. You're not causing an illegal action to occur. You're just not using the card. I think where I get concerned with this card from like a people understanding the game level is there being 2 separate statics that one of which has a very specific trigger time is going to cause a lot of judge calls for newer players, where midway through the turn they realize they did not remove their Roman cancels. And people are going to judge call that.
Your momentum.
I would be stunned if that happens.
I'm not.
You don't think newer players are going to easily forget that the Roman cancels get removed at the beginning of the turn?
I mean, they'll forget, but it doesn't matter. Once you remember, you just take the thing away. Like, there's
okay.
You're not gonna like.
You will.
There aren't that many momentum counting effects that you're going to count your momentum and see the face up there and count it and not remember that you're supposed to get rid of this thing.
There will absolutely.
The Roman cancel token doesn't look like a normal card, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Like wait, is this a people won't forget?
Like your momentum. Right?
Hang on. I'm being given 2 separate arguments. Is this people won't forget or people forgetting doesn't matter? Because those are 2 separate things.
You're arguing that there's going to be judge calls. I don't see why there would be a judge call about it. I think people.
You're arguing that this will harm the game, and I think you are completely wrong.
Yeah.
I think that this is not going to harm. I think this will not cause problems for the competitive environment.
So, okay.
I'm actually actively confident in that.
Yeah. Okay, let's step away, because I think there's a fundamental disagreement there, but it's all speculation. There's no way you can really analyze on it. I will say
it's very hard to invent a hypothetical where this ends in a judge call.
I have seen situations where, like, for example, the floating effect on Electric Moth, where you ready your character, untap your face, and it's an automatic thing that does happen, and then they'll play the next card and make the check and realize, oh, I didn't ready my character, but I'm not using it for this check or anything, where they get judge called for that.
I mean, yeah, people will angle shoot everything if they want to be assholes. Like people could angle shoot breaker more often. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it won't result in judge calls over like actual in-game conflicts that matter.
Yeah, like certainly, like people will like try to haggle over. Like you passed priority wrong, so now you missed your opportunity to use yellow or something if you want to do that.
Sure, that's fair. Like, the only ability on here that I do think potentially, I'd love seeing 3 real podcasts have 5 simultaneous arguments. Hey, that's the 4 Checks podcast at work. I think moving away from that for a second, what do you think about the yellow effect? Because I think the yellow effect creates the most feels bad moments for players playing against tension.
That's the 2 meter to take 3.
Yes.
One? I find it rather weak, actually. Like,
yeah, it's face up and you know it's there.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys know it's there as a competitive player. I am talking about a player thinks they finally got the kill line on someone. They've watched the person stage, and they missed the yellow tension card. I think that creates feels bad moments.
I mean, I'll
It's
feel
nothing
pretty
new.
bad if I walk into it. I walk into all kinds of things.
Yes, we're talking for newer players, not necessarily you and I who are like used to that happens in the
Yeah,
game.
but I mean that's any defensive card.
I'll
That's
feel
the
bad if they
whole
block
thing.
me, right?
Right.
You know
There's
blocking
lots of
can
cards. There's lots of cards where if the new player doesn't read them, they can get blown up by it.
Thanks for the raid, Tam.
Thanks for the
Welcome,
rate of
chat.
10. I thank you for the Fs in
Yeah,
the
we're-
chat as well. I do appreciate
We're
it.
paying respects. I appreciate you.
It's some kind of deflect like n-3, right? It's not quite deflect 3, but
Right.
yes.
Also, like, I mean, I get that roaming cancel itself is a momentum, but effectively having 2 momentum as a cost is it's kind of a real cost. Like,
It kind of is.
you can't do it a million times. You do it like once, like
Sure.
Literally by rule only once.
right.
I will say my opinion on
True. I forgot about that.
because like I think it's fair if you the argument of is this simplifying the game or not feels a little that's you'll have to wait and see.
I wasn't trying to like argue about whether it's simplifying the game or not.
Sure.
I don't think they are as concerned about it as they might have been when they printed AOT1 with the volume of blank cards and whatever that they did. And I don't think that's a problem.
Sure.
I think it's something that we've sort of suspected here and there, right? But like this is clearly they are trying to make a really exciting competitive game first.
Sure. And I think that's fair. And I will say, like, I have grown more positive towards tension as or Roman cancel as an ability as we've seen cards start to use it. I think, and we'll talk when we get into specific cards, we'll talk about in a moment. I think Soul's like ability to get attention on the first attack is really cool. I think some of the attacks we're going to see is really cool. But I am very curious to see as we get more of these tension cards. I think they've done a good job so far. How much are we evaluating getting a free momentum on all of these attacks into like the power calculus of these cards? Because like that's an ability. That's a very strong ability. Things we put on
Sure.
pretty limited cards.
Yeah, my immediate thought is I think of the value of momentum. Like we have cards like I would like to rage now. They kind of put powerful 3 on anything, and
Yep.
so I think like as a baseline, tension is worth at very least it's 3 damage. Right, you can probably cash it out like that some way,
Mhm.
somehow, somewhere. And so like I think that's about where I land on it. Is like if you just look at these attacks and say, well, how good is this card? You know, using my normal skills of card evaluation, just add 3 damage to it. That's probably about how good it is. And that could be off by a couple factors of like how good are the options in the actual tension abilities. You know, is freezing something really strong? Is zone changing something really good? Exactly how good is yellow after all?
How bad is it that it's temporary?
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's it's an important thing too. Is I kind of made the analogy to myself of like, well, how good is Determined Dance, right? Determined Dance is blitz, get a momentum. It doesn't have any options, but if you can't block my Determined Dance, and next turn I have 2 whole momentum, and I can just bank that and use whatever I want on it. And that is not an option with Roman cancels. I think a big thing, and I imagine like everyone's going to kind of get a feel for this pretty quickly. Is if you're trying to lean on yellow for defense, you can buy some time, but like your opponent can still just like land hits on you. You still have to decide when you're going to use it or not. And if your opponent just builds in passes, then I mean, I hope you weren't like sitting for fortress with a bunch of yellow Roman cancel momentum for it, because it's going to evaporate pretty soon.
That is a good thing about Roman cancel. One thing I think is very smart design is the removing at the beginning of your turn, because like many of us have played against a Ghidorah that sits on 3 or 4 invincible bodies and defending pageant queens, and it just feels like when you have so many hard resets, it's just hard to get anything accomplished. And the fact that this has like both an upper cap of 1 per turn, but you can't even like get 4 of them and prepare for 4 turns of doing it unless you're playing tension attacks every single turn. I think that is very smart design.
Absolutely. It also helps that like a lot of these moves, like I'm not going to say they're bad. Obviously, they're not bad. But like if they didn't have tension, they would definitely feel a little bit more lackluster. And I think they're doing so far, and again, we haven't seen the entire set, but like from what we've seen so far, like the quote unquote scariest ones I think are probably the 2 ultra rares, and they're good, but they're not terrifying, right? Like I'm not if someone plays a Bloodsucking Universe on me, I'm like, I'm not thinking I'm going to immediately die.
Sure.
Because they're also getting that momentum on top of what it's doing, right? Like I look at it and I go, okay, that's a reasonable attack because it's also giving it momentum. Like
I do want to point to something Mr. Final Max is saying in chat. Because he's talking about Echo with tension, and will we see an Echo card with tension? Because you inherently get that momentum for it. And I think in general, I'll be very interested to see tension with other momentum keywords if they will show up or not.
right.
Because when I think about it, I'm like, you can put on a card. We have seen almost every combination of keywords. Stun and powerful, powerful and EX, echo and powerful. We've seen most of them. Maybe the exceptions are like, I don't think you'll see like a flash and enhanced speed keywords. And maybe throw and powerful don't show up much. Because they do realize putting throw with powerful 3 or powerful 4 can be a very dangerous. Josh, you got it. I'll come back to you in 10 minutes.
He's gonna be working on this. He's cooking this for the next 10 minutes.
We actually we have nowhere to go. Like you didn't have to say that. We'll still be here in 10 minutes.
Yeah. So when it comes to like tension, I'm like, can you print tension and echo? Like maybe if the card's really weak, otherwise, like we can obviously put anything on anything if we make everything else weak enough. But that's a really hard combination of abilities to do because you are just saying this attack will get to be played twice no matter what if you want to. And that's
Have you read Pale Rider?
Pale Rider doesn't necessarily. Pale Rider's close, but you have to play it as the second attack to do it. It's not
Sure.
quite.
We have a
as
tension
bad.
that says if this is your second attack, you get Psycho. Whatever.
Paying for Echo with a card in your card pool is a much bigger advantage than paying for Echo with the token you just got from your card. You know.
Chris, first of all, Chris, I love that you're at Justin. Like adding me is going to do something in Twitch chat. But yes, we have a Fist of the Mortal Flame, which is tension out, except for when you use the first enhance on Fist of the Mortal Flame, it loses Echo. Now, that doesn't matter if you already have the momentum because then you can echo it and then do it on the second one.
Yeah, and then you fillet fling it back to your hand, and then you do it again, and you echo it again, and you get a momentum again, and then you pick up fillet fling with a military airship, and then you fillet fling again, and then you pick it up.
I need to watch him play
Tim, the second you get a deck, is this Jamie? Is this a Jamie deck? Because I want to see you do this deck.
I think I don't think
it doesn't deal real damage, but it is funny.
It doesn't kill people, but it's fun.
Then peak with Greater Goal just says,
yeah,
it was cool.
Yeah. It doesn't.
Check how many threes I got there. All right.
Yeah.
I was worried.
But I will be very curious to see how tension gets played with other keywords. It's kind of just my main point. Like we can design any card. What will they be willing to do with this keyword getting you a momentum with other cards?
Yeah, I'm excited to see what we get. I'm excited to see if we get a bunch of, like one of my pet cards, and I got to tell someone to put this in a deck this week, and I think they might have actually done it, is Levitate. Send momentum to
absolutely.
Impulse for a foundation, right? And just
that's a good one, yeah.
You can convert momentum into resources in different ways, and I'm really excited to see how they explore that kind of space. It's a blitz blocks too. So like the set isn't huge. We don't have that many cards coming up.
I'm very excited for the dynamic of we can trade off a little bit of attack quality now to feed all of these like, wow, this card's cool, but how am I going to get the momentum? The amount of time I spent like brainworming Earth Pony of just like, all right, Earth Pony gets incredible display, and that's very good for a lot of things that Pony wants to do. How am I? They know I have that card. They're never letting an Electric Moth hit. Like, how am I actually getting a momentum? Like, we're going to throw with Falling Skies, and that's going to be our only route. Are we going to play Strategic Meeting, try to make this work? And now, you can ostensibly include some tension cards in your deck and solve whatever incredible display shaped problem you have, whether it's an Echo attack, whether it's a Levitate, whether it's, an attack with a cool momentum cost ability. I don't know why Centicoil just popped up into my mind, but that's one that comes to mind for like Karama type decks or whatever.
You like to read that one for me.
Yeah, someone was talking to me about a Karama deck some time ago, and they were playing Centicoil in it, and so that's why that's on top of my mind. But it gets +1/+1 for each card in their card pool. So if you're doing the Ray Fillet,
So kind of before we move on from tension, I'm going to ask one last question. Do you think there is a potential critical mass problem here? Like, do you think that is a thing we should be realistically concerned about seeing this effect? That like, let's use Godzilla as an example. Godzilla has an exceptionally powerful spend 1 momentum ability. I'm not saying Godzilla is going to be the problem here. I'm just talking about it in the hypothetical sense. do you think that like the fact that we're going to print, say, 30 attacks with tension on them is going to first force us to have to spend one momentum's cost differently on characters to account for it? Do you think it can create a critical mass problem? Where do you think with broad design of the game in that regard?
I remember when this card they printed this card in MHA 1 called Cool Student, and no one played it but me.
Yeah.
And then I eating cut it because it wasn't good enough.
Yeah, I made it like Godzilla's a cool student joke the other day. Nobody picked up on it. I was sad.
Yeah. I mean, I think momentum's cool. I'm really excited, and I'm not too worried about like them going completely off the rails with it. if that makes
Sure.
sense.
I don't.
Like they might print good cards, they might print overpowered cards,
Mhm.
but I'm not worried.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, is it? What are the? It's hard to imagine it being any worse than what we already have. If you think that the current power levels are too much,
Sure.
right? Maybe there's some way to wombo combo some tension stuff together on turn 3 or 4 and have like a big OTK shaped thing.
Mhm.
So does every deck in this format, right? Like, most decks are able to produce a very large blowout turn, and that's part of what makes them good. And so if there's a way to do that by leveraging tension, that's just one more thing on the heap, which is, good for variety, in one sense. And, maybe it's just one more, for some people, it's just one more frustrating thing to have to deal with. But like, I mean, we'll see.
Right.
Yeah, it's peak universes, I'm afraid.
So
Well-
before we move on, I will point out now I'm like looking at every card that we have so far, and obviously I understand. Thanks for the sub, Andrew. By the way, there is exactly one card that's not the Roman cancel ability that allows you to spin your momentum. Currently revealed. Again, we're still early. There could be
We're
more
very
stuff.
early.
Yeah, we are 20 or 19 cards in.
Yeah.
Because Roman cancel is counted as 20 in this. But the only card currently that allows you to spin your momentum is the Nagoriyuki uncommon that gives itself EX2 if your character has one or more counters.
Sure. No, it'll be that is also where it'll be interesting to see if there are any real payoffs to tension beyond the Roman cancel ability in the sealed format specifically, like or in the limited formats. Because obviously we can find in other sets ways to pay momentum. What will we see in the set?
Yeah, I imagine for limited reasons. I mean, you can always spend the momentum on the text that's on the momentum.
Exactly.
For sure.
Right? We don't have to like poo-poo. Some of that text can be good, for sure.
Oh, sure. I wasn't poo-pooing it. I was just saying in regards to Justin talking about them printing an echo card with tension, it's possible they don't do that because we only have one card that actually can spend its own that can spend momentum outside of the token right now.
But
I do like that the heaven or hell thing is actually going to be a cycle. There's going to be, I guess, 4 of these.
oh yeah.
Just to make my life even more difficult, trying to play every 3 difficulty foundation under the sun. And none of them have.
Well,
man, why does daily training have to have the good symbol? I can't have a symbol that they actually print on characters. That card is so addicting.
And I have great news for you about the mechanic for my favorite license, Attack on Titan, which is 4 check attacks that we named our podcast after. They'll allow you to play a lot more
I did.
than you normally could, and it impacts the game. To me, I honestly like on the same magnitude as tension. To me, like it's similar. Like, wow, this really kind of changes what I thought were the rules of the game, while still being really like built into the guts of universes. So like, I'm really impressed with what the design team's doing.
Yeah, there's this
playing like a particularly mono 4-check deck is a much tighter restriction than like, man, I wish daily training had a different symbol.
You know, there is a character who plays all 4 checks really well. They smile a lot, and they play like straight big difficulty.
Nah, the character sucks.
All right. Speaking of
my card too,
yeah,
I didn't think it leaked yet.
Yeah, did you just read the yellow tension ability? Smiling Titan's not gonna like that one.
Oh wait, hold on. No. All right. Speaking of characters and tension, though, let's start talking a little bit about some of the characters that we have had revealed so far. So we've had 3 characters revealed. I want to talk about the characters before the attacks. And the first one, I think, face of Guilty Gear, basically. Soul.
To the extent that there is a Ryu of this franchise.
Yeah, he's the Ryu.
He's the he's a Shoto for sure.
Yeah. Soul Badguy, the silliest name I have ever heard from a character. And then I found out his real character name was like, wasn't it literally like Frederick something? I know everyone calls him Freddie Mercury. But Soul Badguy
I don't know. I'm not that deep in Guilty Gear lore.
has two effects. He has a static and a response. His static is the selling point of the character. His name is not actually Frederick Mercury. I thought the Freddie Mercury thing was a joke.
So according to the
But
internet,
that's Guilty Gear.
it's Frederick Bulsara, but it is a reference to Freddie Mercury. Whose
So,
first
yeah,
name
I mean,
was
it's Guilty Gear. It's
Farouk
all about
Bulsara.
stuff,
shit
right?
posts. It's
Yeah.
all shit posts, all the way up and down.
Yes.
So
This is a fighting game where fights start with, instead of saying like round one fight, it just says heaven or hell.
Let's rock.
Let's rock.
Yeah.
Guilty Gear's dope.
Guilty Gear's
love
all
it.
music references. Yes. Yes. Soulbag has the effective.
This is the game that inspired the like that jokey video of like you hadn't seen this in Michigan before or whatever, and they just say all this random stuff before the fight starts.
So reading what this character does, he has a static ability that's really the selling point of this character. Your first attack each turn gets tension. Notably, it's not if it doesn't already have it, it just gets it. So if you have a tension already on this, you're going to get 2 momentum on your first attack. And then response. After 1 or more cards is added to your momentum, your next check to play a fire card gets +1. And this character is on the Chaos Fire symbols with 6 hand size and 32 life. And there's one character I immediately thought of when I saw this. It's a character I have always wanted to see be good. This character feels very close to Big Mouth Titan for me. Like, there are obviously differences, but there's a lot of the same vibes going on.
Yeah,
but
I have a bit of a hang up with Soul Bad Guy. I would table stakes. I'd rather be Big Mouth Titan. Now, give or take, can you figure out something to do with this check boost that's really compelling if you stack enough of them together or whatever, and then maybe that changes the conversation. But you know, you look at Soul Bad Guys like, boy, we have to figure out like damage and card selection and stuff, and that's what Big Mouth Titan just has on his face.
Right.
Big Mouth Titan is grossly underrated. That character's a bad motherfucker.
I have constantly been like one step away from taking Big Mouth Titan, especially like pre AOT 3. I kept almost taking Big Mouth Titan to tournaments.
Dude, they banned VME. It was so sad.
Yeah. But like on face, the ability to get a momentum is really powerful. Like Big Mouth Titan's really powerful. Like, yes, he has other abilities. He has 2 damage. But these characters are powerful because they get a momentum. And it is worth noting, this momentum does more. It is a Roman cancel token. Now you can't stack momentum. So you're playing this in a deck where you're probably wanting to burn through momentum pretty quickly, either through Roman cancels or other abilities. But it gets you this really powerful tool. And the check hacking could matter. I think my hang up is that he limits himself to fire cards. Because if I could play a deck where I'm like building my own city rampage, because I'm playing all of the get 1 momentum, like the female Titan UR from AOT 3 and the 6 diff Chaos Attuned Determined Advance. Like, if I was playing all of those get a momentum cards and they could chain into each other, I think I might be sold with that. Now, I think Final Max does bring up a good point. This does have that one thing of like, you don't need to. The check boost could stack for 1 late attack. You could play 1 or 2 big fire
as long as you cash it out in the turn, you're
that seems to be clearly the idea here.
Yeah. And that's why, like, and I'll pull up the image of it real quick. That's why his UR is a 7 diff move. That's a big payoff for playing a lot of attacks. Let me go and pull it on the chat.
Yeah, and I do like that about him actually. I've always been a fan of two bucket designs where it's like you want to play some attacks in this bucket and some attacks in this bucket, whether it's like 2 different keywords or 2 different zones or 2 different whatever. Instead of, you know, I like it when you have, back when we used the combo keyword, right? I always liked it when cards comboed off of something that wasn't themselves, and you had to play like these are the things that will start the combo, these are the things that will combo off of those things, and sort of piece things together that way, instead of being like, oh, run mono highs, oh, run mono throws, oh, run mono punches, oh, you know.
Yeah, we like when you actually have to use two like have a left foot and a right foot and not just go in a straight line. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and I do think if we take a moment to talk about Tyrant Brave, this is a Rave on paper. This is a really interesting card. So it has a somewhat decent response. When you check an attack to play this card, add the checked attack to your momentum. It's something you're not going to control most of the time because you don't want to be checking attacks usually. So you're not like usually going to stack your deck to intentionally check a 3.
Stacking your deck is very expensive usually. Yeah.
Yeah, stacking your deck's already expensive, and stacking a 3 on top to check, which means you're committing minimum 4 on this card, that's probably a hard sell for
That's
me.
why we check an attack when we block with it.
Now that, on the other hand, I'm down for. But it's blitz
Also,
ability.
I mean, it is really just rewarding you if you have a bad luck, right? Like, I don't know if it's really meant to be something you need to set up. I think it's just there to be like, oh man, you check bad. Well, here's a consolation prize.
Yeah, imagine we're doing the tension thing. We're getting some moment cancel counters. We may just have like one left after we spend some.
Yeah.
Say, all right, but we're gonna go for this big Tyrant Rave, and if we need a 5, if we check a 5, we win. If we don't check a 5, well, we got a momentum for yellow Roman cancel.
Right.
And I think and it is worth noting the reason you play this card is for an exceptionally powerful blitz ability, and a blitz ability that does more than even looks like here. Mr. Final Max has pointed it out. This is counting attacks played, not attacks in pool. So like if you have a deck that's say, I don't know, doing things like Fist of the Immortal Flame into Fist of the Immortal Flame into Fillet Fling into pick up Fist of the Immortal Flame. I hope Tim has his headphones on, given I am glazing his deck right now. And then you end it all on like a Tyrant Rave. You could do Mondo damage with it, or even like maybe more realistically than that.
Or if your name is Pony or Mikasa 1.
Pony or Mikasa 1 could use this as a finisher. That would be kind of interesting. Like it's for a version of the deck that's not trying to turn 2, but is okay ending on an 8 diff move that's just going to be gargantuan, I could see. I think even this card on like, there's a fun UR that I think is really cool on a local level called, I think it was Rallied Assault. It's the one that spends 1 momentum to clear all other cards in both players' pool.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun. I could imagine a fire deck that's like playing a bunch of things, getting a momentum somewhere.
So somewhere tension.
Yeah. So and Soul could do this on his own.
Yes.
He would guarantee it. Play a string, end on Rallied Assault, clear all the other attacks, have this fairly big move, and then if they base a bunch of resources blocking it, you go and kill them with a Tyrant Rave. Feels like a line you could see at maybe not at like top cut of a regional, but there's like a hella fun local deck, if nothing else. So I think this card is really
Debbie
cool.
Downer time? It's banned. Sorry guys, you can't play this one.
Got his ass.
Sweeping Dagger says we're not allowed to play this card.
Nah, I'm playing it anyway. Screw that card.
Yeah, you still play it at locals, but
also, it's worth mentioning, and it may not be the biggest thing, but Soul Badguy certainly has an important trait that Big Mouth Titan does not have.
Mm-hmm.
The warrior trait. He does get to play Marley's.
Oh, bad guy.
Oh, there's something that references warriors. I was wondering.
Yeah.
Okay, him playing Marley's Warrior is kind of cool. I'm still sad. Like I'm trying to get over Sweeping Daggers here. Like Tim just made me feel awful.
Screw it.
It's peak university, I'm afraid. you have to if you think your attack is cool, you have to be ready for me to think it's cool too. All right.
Also, it's fine. They play Sweeping Daggers. They get a massive move. You just Roman cancel it. It's fine.
Yeah,
that's what
there we go.
For. It's okay.
Now we're back at it.
Cool Sweeping Daggers. I'll take 3. Thanks.
I
hope you didn't use that on anything else that turn.
Nah, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
However, Soul is not the only character we have seen this week. We got our second character, I think vampire. Oh, he has vampire in it. Samurai Vampire. 2 of the most specific keywords I think we've had on a character yet. Unless we get the Castlevania IP at some point.
Ensign.
I stand corrected. I did forget we had Ensign.
Also, it's relevant if we get Slayer in the future. He's also a vampire.
I don't think vampire and samurai are all that specific, honestly.
They're very easy to bring back.
Josh here. Apparently, this is incorrect. He's not a vampire. He's a Nightwalker. So this is a lore inaccurate to call him a vampire.
I don't know, man. The IP holder probably approved it. It's fine.
Yeah, so it's fine. But let's talk about what this character does. So this character is, I think, is this the first character we've had that could
I've been
commit?
patiently waiting for Justin to butcher the name, and he just won't.
He won't.
Sorry. I'll do it. I'll do it for chat.
I
I'll
said
do
it
for
earlier
chat.
in the stream.
Is it not Nago? No, Nagoriyuki.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's Nagoriyuki.
See, I'm not that
Japanese
bad.
is easy. You just all the syllables always sound the same every time you
I
say
know
them.
how to say every character correctly. Rainer, Rodad. Like, come on.
I'm waiting.
Pike, Piek.
Piek. But
Smilin Titan.
I'm never gonna be able to read this character.
Strong.
So I think this character is the first character we've had that could commit a rival's character. Because first we need to know his enhance. His enhance adds 1 blood counter to this card. Your attack gets +4 damage. And then when in ability adds 1 or 2 more blood counters to your character resolves. If you have 4 or more counters, commit 1 rival card, you burn 10, and then you on yourself, and then you remove all the blood counters from this card. This effect cannot reduce you below 1 health. You guys know Retro more than I do. Is this the first character we've had that can commit a rival's character on face?
Oh, historically, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Okay. In Retro, no?
Also, All Might 7.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot All Might 7 could do that. You're right.
I mean, he does have to block 3 attacks in a
Struggling
turn,
studies
but...
existed. It was fine. We actually did
Sure.
that. We actually
Fair.
built an All Might in our multi needle puncture arc. So he's really good at playing that card.
Actually, even there's a character in Standard currently that does it because it's All Might.
Okay, fair enough. But it's still this is one of the easiest, at least since MHA1.
Right.
Easiest
This is also one that can
ways
do
we've
it
had.
offensively.
And it's also worth noting he is not limited to just the character. He can commit their best foundation if their character doesn't matter. He can commit an asset. He can commit a lot of things here. Committing a foundation probably is also interesting because Roman cancels can allow us to freeze a specific foundation. So if you want to make sure they never get access to their moment of normalcy, you could commit it and then just Roman cancel.
Low price of 10 health every time.
No, you've got to do it.
To observe about this guy is that he is free +4 damage to all of your attacks.
Yes.
Except it costs 2.5 health actually.
Sure.
So
sure.
This is Godzilla with even bigger numbers, and instead of moving his checks, he's gonna kill your defensive piece at some point.
Sure.
That's
right.
How to understand this character.
I do want to say, I agree. I do want to say you don't have to lose 10 health every time because you can blue remove, freeze it, and it stays committed. You can blue remove, freeze it again.
As long as you find tension up, right?
Yeah, as long as you can keep tension up. But yes, you're right. Obviously, the characters, if we were marketing this character, it'd be like, oh, you can commit your rival's character, and that's cool. But this character also just says +4 damage.
That's the clickbait. Yeah.
This character says +4 damage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So on the one hand, I appreciate some people being like, oh, whoa, that's a big power creep type of reaction because we just had Raphael throws his hand away for 4 damage and has to do all sorts of kooky stuff to try to continue existing in that world. But also, we've have a lot of +3 damage goons in this format that do nothing.
Yep.
And the only one with enough extra text to overcome just being a +3 damage goon is Godzilla. Right. And particularly because he can reset the board and he can turn his momentum into checks. And that's enough to overcome the restrictions. But Wolfwood's gone nowhere. Mount Lady 2's gone nowhere. I'm
2 or
certainly
3 Star Trek characters, right?
Yeah, there's a couple Star Trek characters. There's 5 different characters that with different shapes and sizes put +3 damage and everything and do very little else. And none of them are good enough right now. And so if you're going to make a new one of these, give him +4 damage.
Sure.
And he once again does frankly very little else. He's going to commit something once a game. Okay. Maybe twice a game if things get really weird, but probably once a game you got to commit something. And +4 damage goon. See how it works, right? +3 was enough. Maybe +4 is. If he said +3 damage, he'd be awful.
And an interesting thing about this character in that regard, most of the +3 characters that we have had, not all, but a lot of them had some type of restriction tied to them. Godzilla's 5 dips.
Godzilla's +5 dips.
We keep comparing him to Raph, and not only is Raph discarding his entire hand, Raph can only do it on Furies.
Yeah.
This card says any attack. 4 diffs, 3 diffs, 5 diffs. You can play the best suite of 20 attacks in this character, which is a huge advantage that this character has. And so I will be very interested to see what we get to do with this. I think right now, I think of him as like a fun at a regional, but probably not topping. But I think one thing that could change that for me is if he gets a way to add blood counters on defense, which I don't know if they'll do.
I'd be kind of surprised.
I would be surprised.
I think he has a chance to be like genuinely at least fringe viable, if not like truly viable, and I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I think he's compelling. He tells a compelling story, right? He's got some schmoves, and I'm curious to see what the rest of his support's going to look like.
For sure. And we have seen a few pieces of his support. I'm going to focus on the attack right now. The attack is Blood-Sucking Universe. So let me pull that one up. Blood-Sucking Universe.
What is it going to take to convince people to play 5 damage throws?
True. This is maybe one of the most pushed 5 damage throws I have seen. 5 damage throws. It's tension. It gets you a momentum. It's worth noting that it's a throw. So if they don't have throw hate or DR, it gets you a second momentum at the end of your turn, which is relevant for the yellow ability in particular. It also gets you health. Have you lost audio for Chris? Have you lost audio for everyone or just a specific person? Well, never mind. It was me. Cool. Thanks, bud. So yeah, you get health. It's a throw. You get a momentum. This is about as good as I think you can make a 5 damage throw that isn't just completely obscene.
That's fair.
I know there's not flashy, but
yeah, it's all right. If it is nice in terms that it automatically gives you yellow. Naturally we would want to be having a use for momentum on our own turn for any tension attack like this. I don't know. This card wears 4 damage really well, right? It's obviously very good.
It sure is.
Nagoriyuki. But I don't know if outside of Nagoriyuki, this card, the 5 diff space is very competitive.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I'm glad that this is compelling enough for people to think about it, though, and that's as much as you can ask for.
Yes.
If it's on people's 200 card lists, then we did good.
For sure. This is a card that, like, I will say, you pull this card in the limited environment. If this is one of your URs you pulled, you're going to feel really good. It's a really comfortable one to just slot in places. And even like if you pull this out of your box, I don't think you're going to be like, man, that was a waste of a UR slot. You're going to look at this and go, I think I can find a home for this somewhere. And that's kind of where you want most of your URs to be.
Yeah, I think 5 for 5 on URs not being complete duds so far. So we're doing good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's fair.
I do like its name.
I had to look at them real quick, and I was like, Bad. They have good names.
Yeah, I have been loving Guilty Gear names as a whole. Speaking of a name that I think I know this how to pronounce it correctly. This one is Potemkin, correct? That's the correct pronunciation. Cool,
yeah.
Cool. I have no idea what that name means, but Potemkin is our next character. This guy is a 5-hand size, 32 life. He has a weirdly tenacious response. There's probably some flavor reason for that. Before you take damage from an attack, if its damage is 4 or greater, you take 1 less. And then response. After your attack is completely blocked, your rival discards 1 card. It's name of a Russian battleship? Sure. I'm in. Sounds great, man. I don't think this character is very strong. I think, unfortunately, you just went wide-eyed, bro. Do you
I
disagree
would have
with
to
me?
agree with you. That being said, I hope someone can not pronounce. I hope someone can prove me wrong because I do agree with you on that.
I mean,
I'll
I think that
happily be proven wrong.
I think I don't want this character to ever be remotely playable, but he achieves what he's setting out to do. This is a character with heavy hands in the literal sense.
Sure.
Yeah, I like, from a design perspective, I like this character. I appreciate that, they're making a 5-hand size bruiser that both isn't drawing extra cards and isn't being like, oh, just play throws, ha ha ha. He's playing throws in the sense that he's trying to convince your opponent to partial block,
Right.
but he gets to play whatever attacks he wants.
Sure.
And I think people are. I think it will take more than, just sitting down and facing Potemkin for the first time to play well against him. I think the first 2 to 4 times you play against Potemkin, you are not going to understand what it means to discard a card every time you full block.
Right.
This guy's going to play a violent animate shot, put some damage on it from somewhere. What are you going to do?
I do want to.
All right, lose 2 cards. You want to partial block it? Lose 2 cards. You want to not block it? Well, you lose 1 card, but you just took 8.
You mentioned something really cool there, and I want to give one big piece of credit to this card. A big flavor win. So Potemkin's one of the few characters I knew something about from Guilty Gear before the set came out, because people hate him in competitive, and I see people complain about him on Twitter. And he is a grappler throw character. He throws you, he throws you, he throws you. That is what he does, constantly throws you. If I'm wrong, chat can correct me. And like Kobuddy's mentioned it very clearly here, like you could do that as just by saying this attack gets throw, but that feels kind of lame. And it also removes control from your opponent. It means if you make a really big move and you just give it throw, they just have to eat half the damage without very specific outs. Here, we're doing the throw thing without doing the throw thing. We're saying you're going to spend most of your time partial blocking like these are throws. Because if you completely block, it's going to cost you. Most decks cannot afford, especially in the level of draw we have now where we don't have passing the torch as much anymore. Most decks are going to have a hard time completely blocking 2, 3, 4 times against this character and not start to feel it drain their hands away. So that's cool. I think that's a big flavor win. And it shows a really smart design.
Great flavor character.
I think design wins when it's also not so obvious, anyone would do this, but you go, wow, the designers really thought about what this character could look like in the game. And that's what I get from reading this. And I love that. Potemkin has been a menace in the latest patch of Stride to the extent that Noble described him as a failure of game design. Man. Oh, man. That is brutal. Good news is the character himself, I think, is a win for our game design. Let's talk a little bit about his UR, though. Another tension throw. 5 diff, 2 check, 2 mid for 6. Your rival cannot play responsibilities during the damage step of this attack. Static. Response, if this attack is not full blocked, it gets 6 damage. This attack gets big if you're not going to full block it, and that means if you either are eating 2 cards or taking a lot of damage against Potemkin.
Right.
Cool.
You're taking 6, right?
You're taking 6.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Sort
6
of
for blocking, it's pretty good. Yeah.
If you ever go against Potemkin and decide, you know what, I'll full block this one and discard my last pathetic card.
Yeah.
Here's 12.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's the big thing.
And if you don't block, it's 12 once, and there's no reason they could do it more than once to you. This is only a 5 diff. Chaining 2 of these is not
5 hand size. Let's not get too ambitious with the kinds of hands we're gonna have here.
We will always draw the gas. You just have to believe. There is one part of this I don't like, though. What are your guys' opinion on that static? I want to hear your thoughts before I give mine.
I am incredibly frustrated with the state of the rules. I want to be not a hater, but there are so many abilities that are before the damage step for no reason, for completely arbitrary. This is what we decided to write today. and this hits yellow. This hits yellow and like nothing else.
Yes.
I think I was doing a list of what it hits. It hits yellow. It hits anything that says before you take damage, or pretty much 90% of what matters. So it hits yellow.
It stops like toughest punk in junior high. It stops like last second rescue.
It
like
stops.
It stops raw.
It stops driven by retribution. That's a real card.
Yeah.
It stops after you take damage, probably more often than it stops before you take damage.
But it did drive me insane. I was joking in David's Chord that we could be like, you could make a game show off of, would this card trigger or be usable against Potemkin? Because most people would, if you did not read Runaway in a few months and someone just played Runaway on you and you're like, I know what that card does. No, you can't do that because Potemkin Buster says you can't play responses to damage step. And it goes, no. Runaway says before the damage step, even though that card is just changing the amount of damage you take and stuffing something in your card pool. That absolutely feels like it should be during the damage step. Airy is maybe the most egregious. Airy is before the damage step. That card feels like that should be during the damage step. Like, leave you on 1 should be a during the damage step ability.
Yeah, I can appreciate they didn't want to, like, if you wanted to word this to make it work against those things, it would be like, you'd have, because we have this between step stuff going on.
Yeah.
For historical whatever reasons there aren't that could or could not be patched, who knows. They could word this, your rival cannot play responsibilities after the enhanced step during this attack, would be what they would have to do if they wanted
or after the block step.
If I can appreciate that reads mucky.
It would either have to be after the enhanced step or after the block step if you want a breaker to still work and stuff. Yeah, it's and I get it.
And then
it's
people
awkward.
aren't sure if it only work on after the block step triggers. Like, it's not.
Yeah, I understand that it's
probably
awkward.
Like this is like ultimately downstream of the terrible design decision to have this ad hoc system that we're going to invent on the fly where you can respond to everything, but whenever we invent response triggers is when they're actually going to happen.
Yeah.
That people praised for some reason.
Yeah.
And then not hire sufficiently narrow, spicy individuals to actually like make trains run on time.
I mean,
insufficient Tylenol.
My brain was processing, can I make that joke or not? I was trying to
Tim said I'm gonna do it anyway.
It's Discord at this point. You can't get away from them.
Yeah,
it's not. I mean, Tylenol jokes are not a joke at the expense of the narrow, spicy individuals. It is completely good.
Apparently, like, I haven't seen it at my school, but apparently there have been like teenagers now who, instead of like calling each other autistic, they call each other Tylenol maxing. Like, it's insane how much this has immediately been memed online. Like, oh man. Anyway, I do agree with what you were saying, though, Broberg. Neurospicy notwithstanding.
In the like five different people probably have like manifesto Word document somewhere of what they would do if they were making this game from scratch. Certainly on that list is change how responses work, restrict what your response windows are, do something with this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. I know. I 100% agree. And like, it sucks. I think this is otherwise kind of a fun card. I will ask one last thing. Do you think this is worth the 2?
I mean, it's still damage.
It is a lot of
damage. It does also have tension.
It has tension, right?
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't want this card to be a 3.
Yeah, that I was
putting it in the deck, but
when I was talking, I think I said it was in that category. And there's a lot of cards in this category, unfortunately, of the too good to be a 3, maybe not good enough to be a 2. You know, where you just look at it and you go, if this was a 3, it would be a problem. No one would want to play against it. It would be so toxic. But will it fit in any decks realistically as a 2?
Dude, I hate this attitude of like, there's an objective bar of like quality that like, oh, it's like not good enough to be a 2.
Yeah, the 2 just says, if you want to play this card, you have to have some confidence that you're going to strip their hand.
Sure.
And I think that's fine. I think that's reasonable.
It's gonna have to be, if you want to have a spicy deck that's like, we're gambling, you're not like a coward, then you can put this in your deck. That's great. That's success. That you have attitude, that you have choices and vibes and opinions that you can put in your deck.
Yeah, I mean, we banned a card for dumpstering the opponent in a hand strip deck. It was obviously more powerful than this one, but like that idea is not nothing.
I was gonna ask, but it didn't come up because I forget the guy resets it to printed. I was gonna ask if he 2 would get this response twice, with how his block stuff works, but it wouldn't matter. He resets the move to printed after the first one, anyways.
Yeah, but I'm down to play this in TA.
Yeah, it's pretty
'Cause you're
great. It's pretty
still-
good in EA.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to ask the rules for him, but I would assume that whenever you decide to keep the block that they did, right? If they don't completely block it twice, you'll be able to give this the +6 at some point.
Yeah, you'll definitely get a +6 at some point.
Yeah,
don't get it twice.
You won't. Yeah, you can't possibly get it twice because you're not. So, yeah, this is another like.
Why did we print Hiei? Yes, I don't know.
Well, no. I think Hiei is fine if they actually had someone who's autistic to make Hiei, and like who actually has like the power to like make Hiei, like make the rules around Hiei instead of like we're gonna print Hiei and then like make the rules come after or something. It's not that hard. It's not that hard, guys.
Yeah, asking what's about Hiei is a good
Just,
way
like,
to make the judges ignore you. That is correct.
I agree.
Put names for things.
I will say one last thing.
Anyway,
oh, sorry.
Let me finish my thought on Hiei actually.
Yeah.
So I got sidelined being frustrated at this like new like not block trigger that's like I think implicitly in the damage in the block step, like in the block step in the event that the block isn't happening, that's like not blocked. And that's like not written down anywhere. You just we kind of infer that, and it's part of the
I think there's a distinct point in the block step where you like set a block status, and it's either full blocks, partial blocked, or not blocked, and all the not blocked stuff triggers on that.
Yeah, I find that cursed and bad, actually. But
you could unify the block step to just happen at one point instead of like they play the block and then you determine the block status. I don't think that's what you're getting at, but yeah.
No, so that's not at all what I want. So, but basically, it's so you play the block, and then you respond to playing the block, and then the block resolves, quote unquote, right? And he intercepts before the second one happens and says, "Go back to the start and try again if you want to."
Yes.
I understand. I do want to make sure we don't get stun locked here forever because I do agree with you. Like it is frustrating cards like Hiei existing and like the weird way you have to kind of have a very, very encyclopedic understanding of the rules at times to be able to utilize those interactions correctly. But I do want to get back to this card specifically. Sketch brought up something really cool in the chat. This is one of the best uses for red Roman cancel I have seen.
I didn't think of that at all.
That is pretty cool, yeah. Actually,
you tension it in, you red Roman cancel, you make it a high or a low. If they held one card in hand and you're playing this card, they almost certainly held the mid. Now they're playing a guessing game because they held a high or a low, and you play this and you make it the other zone. They're risking a 50-50 of 12 damage. And if they held the mid, now you're guaranteeing you're going to get at least 6 off. That's sick. That's really cool.
Right. I'm gonna play mono 2 checks with this and farewell between friends and some other ones. Be like, hey, you.
I mean, imagine if you spirit glass and then pop this.
Oh man! And imagine if I sweeping daggers this. I'll tension it, and it's fast and gets 6 damage.
God, okay, I'm getting. The more we're talking about this, the more
the Rodin sweeping daggers on this goes crazy.
The more we talk about this, the more I'm getting on board for the idea of tension as a concept, because the idea that like tension can do a representation of a mix-up in a fighting game by using that 1 meter to change the zone of your move. God, that's actually really cool design. You know what? That's kind of peak. That's kind of sick. But I do think that kind of covers all of the main URs and characters. We didn't talk about the like foundations and rares. I figured next week we'll probably each bring like our favorite of those to the table once we kind of see what everything's going to have.
We have 8 weeks before this set comes
out.
Yeah,
right.
So we'll have
we
time
can take our
to
time.
talk about it.
What about the character from today, guys? Look, man.
Tomorrow's gonna be exciting. We get 2 previews tomorrow. It's gonna be
Yeah,
great.
I'm not
we get
Hopefully.
two.
Yeah, I don't know what got previewed today.
Knock
What
on
are you
wood,
talking
please.
about?
Hey, just know that next time we get a preview, it will definitely happen on that Thursday. No questions asked.
Unless
Uh,
Justin's
Let's
moving
cancel the
again.
show.
unless I'm moving again. Let's hope I'm not moving again.
Oh, I think at that point we just
Then we
run it
would run a
either way.
three-person
Yeah,
show.
because we did the same thing when Tim was out, and it was
Yeah,
technically his preview.
Yeah.
And you heard you got Phoebe Hanji. That was so cool.
He's already look. He's British. He's already struggling to come his flag.
I love Hanji's cards.
I'll respect it. I'll respect it. But we're kind of coming to that hour now. We were thinking about talking a little bit about the meta. I don't think we'll have time for a full in-depth discussion, but I do want to ask the cards we've seen so far. Do you think they would do anything to the meta realistically from just this first glance?
Yeah.
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 Yes.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's fine. Like what?
Thunderspear Nagoriyuki is gonna do something to someone.
Oh,
True.
Hold on. That's kind of sick. I know I'm looking at it. I'm going like, man, Deku like has to find Chinatown now, or Incredible Display if you're on a different symbol, or he just has to keep being prepared. Because if against it, I always think of it as like an all tension deck or like a big tension deck where there's 3, 4, 5 of them. You're going to be against a Deku, or a Deku 6 is going to be against that and just go, there is always a Roman cancel on the field. What am I going to do about this? Maybe I can split 50-50 and get it working. That's going to be rough. I think
Dude,
Roman
like,
cancel.
I hadn't thought about how tension like kind of hits you in the head. But if you're cringe, like we just have counterplay for you. Or if you're playing no low boxing deck, I can read that and just own you. Like get a bunch of free equity off of that every turn. If your deck is too one trick and having Command the Foundry in play, I just freeze that thing forever, and you're never gonna tap with it. It'd be a sub game of like, can I make you stun it out and then let me freeze it? And then if you're gonna be Deku, if you're gonna try to be a one-shot deck, well, I'm gonna always have a trick on top of like even just for signing up with Guilty Gear cards. I'm gonna have an answer to Deku to make him actually jump
Think
through
about
the
the
hoop
game.
to win the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to note that it's very funny to me that Kevin, Mr. Low blocks aren't real, I don't need them, is advocating for everyone playing these Roman cancels to punish people like
Well,
that.
low block. Yeah, low
Listen,
blocks.
like I never like I don't like explain myself very well, which is something I'm trying to work on a little bit. And then I don't, and then I just like say fake universes for 3 months, and no one knows what I mean. So it's kind of great, honestly. I'm at peace with myself about this.
Oh, it's fine.
Also-
I'm basically
But,
just
like-
calling you a masochist,
Also,
so it's fine.
Broberg's kind of right for the fact that like all of a sudden low blocks are way more real when every deck can convert to a low block at any time.
Oh, absolutely.
Or
No,
low
I'm not
attack at any
disagreeing
time.
with that. I just thought it was very
You
funny.
better be more ready to handle low blocks now than before, or you just be like me and play Hanji and you just DR everything and you don't care about the zone of moves.
So the truth of low blocks aren't real and cannot hurt me is twofold. One of them is that empirically, like the low attacks are much less good than the high attacks.
Sure.
Right? Low attacks are, I think it's really great, and I'm like a little bit of this is like kind of seeing patterns where they may not exist, seeing intentions they may not exist. But it really feels like high attacks are like the bread and butter zone. Mids are like the gut punches where hey, you have a breaker 2 block for me. Like, signal shots. I don't really care that much. Like my Harden's have got breaker 2 block. It's fine, whatever, fair trade. But like, and it's also like the armor of the wolf stuff. But then the low attacks are like these are crap. Like this is like I'm like here's my 3 low for 5, and that's like good because it's just a 3 low for 5. They're not gonna have a low block, whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like aside from like the low heavy Godzilla lists.
Sure.
Yeah,
there aren't
there's
too many
once in a while
real
there's like
attacks
the
out
low
there.
overload deck. That's a cool angle too. But like the low overload deck is playing much lower qualities than high overload pony with battle or release falling skies.
Sure.
For sure.
Hey,
Look,
Blue
I
Thumb
just
Torment
wanted to
in the
have
Tail Rider's
fun.
Cool, leave me alone.
I just wanted to have fun calling Kevin a masochist. That's all.
Yeah, and
Hey, we all
but
enjoy that.
when I say low attacks aren't real and cannot hurt me, that is me girding myself to get hit by a low attack and not to overreact to it, and not to be like, I really want to hold like 3 low blocks next turn. I can't get outplayed by the low attacks. Like, no, I have to actually remind myself of the correct play, which is to block the high attacks that are important, because low attacks, they're not real, they can't hurt me. And it turns out sometimes also like I play into walk the dog, and it can't deal anything damage because low attacks aren't real. It cannot hurt me.
Yeah. Yeah,
How about that?
playing that card doesn't put damage on anything.
Yeah.
That's why Mikasa's Fatal Cleave is cool. It's real and it doesn't deal damage, but it's still
Yeah.
real.
True.
Yeah, I was thinking before they printed Earthbreaker too.
But I think on
Earthbreaker's a good one.
Will, do you have any thoughts on how this might affect the meta before we kind of wrap things up?
I mean, I mean, obviously, I think tension is going to affect the meta in general. Like, even if we don't see a lot of people playing roaming cancels, we'll see a lot of people at least trying these cards out for free momentum. And I also think some of the foundations we've seen will definitely see some play. Like, we didn't talk about it today, we can talk about it next week, but like Armorclad Faith, I think, is going to see at least some good sideboard play. I think Let's Rock will see some play in certain decks that love Titan Cliff or similar effects. Like, I think this set will have a good impact.
Foundations are pretty hot.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. I'm very interested to see. I think
I think aside from maybe the 2/5 flight, I think we're like 5 for 5 on quality foundations.
Right.
Yeah.
Or at least interesting foundations.
I think almost every card we have seen is like on some level interesting. I had a lot of, as much as I enjoy TMNT, there were a lot of times where there was a TMNT reveal where I was like, I have a real hard time gassing this up and saying it's really cool and interesting. I have not had that problem here. Like, I think every card I can at least call interesting, even like Buster, which is probably the weakest UR attack we've seen. I get to look at it and go, man, we get to do the mix up with tension and it's a throw and it gets big and there's all this cool stuff it does. And I think that's sick. Regardless of where the game is going to be competitively after this set, which we won't know until we see more of the cards, I think it's sick what we've seen so far.
Right, because even like the common and uncommon attacks, like even like the most boring one of if you have 2 or more momentum, you have this attack is 3 damage. It still gives you a momentum. It's still tension. It still gives you all these cool roman and cancel effects. So like, at its worst, it's still interesting.
Absolutely.
Has, keywords that are not everywhere, right? Ally and kick are things you might key off of.
They have relevant keywords as well.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right, let's go and start, I think, wrapping things up with plugging our shows or plugging our channels. Broberg, why don't you start?
Yeah, I made a Substack, Build UVS at, right? I don't even know the URL, but I made a Substack and I like posted one thing to it. I should do this more often.
I was not prepared for that. Cool. Check out the Build UVS or whatever it's called Substack. Hell yeah.
True. Yes. Watch the socials. I'll spam them too.
Yeah. I have a YouTube, Satonis on YouTube, CETONIS. Most recent video is the top 20 prospects for the fall of 2025. It's a bunch of characters that haven't top cut this rotation that I think have some kind of potential. Some of them are a little bit stretchy just because of the nature of where we are right now, but it's fine. It's kind of just fun to talk about some off the radar characters. Next video, unknown. I could do another in my budget series. I could do something else. Haven't really decided yet.
I do have a Twitch channel now, Double Mulligan. I'm trying to get to the affiliate status, which requires 25 followers. I think I'm at 18 now. So I am going to post in chat. If you have enjoyed anything I've said, come check me out. I'm doing variety stream stuff, some Riftbound with Tam, sometimes I'm going to do Friday Night Grind Night with the team. And then I'm doing a lot of video game stuff. In fact, this Saturday, I am almost certainly going to be doing something with Guilty Gear Strive to kind of hype up what's coming up with Universes. So pay attention to the socials, pay attention to Discord, all of that, and you'll see more what that's looking closer to the day of. But if you could give me a follow, I would really appreciate it. And Will, what about your channel?
No, I don't have that channel. I will only use it when we're doing randomizer stuff, so I'm not going to plug that. However, definitely go check out the YouTube for 4Checks Cast, our VOD channel. This episode I am going to download as soon as we're done here, and I will have it prepped and ready to go either Monday or Tuesday, just depending on how my Monday goes. But Tuesday I can definitely remember because it's our locals night, and thinking of UVS makes me go, oh, hey, I should probably do this.
Oh, yeah.
And just to give out some shout outs to followers and subscribers, thank you again to Andrew Holder for subscribing, and thank you for the Severny for the follow on here. And if that is everything, I think we are going to go ahead and raid someone. Who we got to raid, y'all? Is there anyone streaming right now on the UVS world?
Not that I can see.
Oh goodness, no.
Man, we just stream so late now. There's no one. Here, I'm gonna raid Prime Video. No, I don't want to give Bezos money. No, I
Don't you
reject.
dare.
I reject that.
People will find their own raids. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. All right. I'm gonna do this one because I like this YouTuber. We're gonna do Hard Leg Gaming because they do Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. And some of you guys probably like Yu-Gi-Oh out there. Yes, Josh, if you stream on Thursdays late at night, we'll ship it over to you, man.
The late night Friends and Rivals cast.
All right. I'll catch y'all later. Have a great day.
Seriously, our locals are
Bye.
Mondays. I never get to watch Friends and Rivals.
And then we will stop the stream.
That's sad.